gotta be careful when you tell God yes. Because sometimes yes means in your discomfort, I'll go. Yes means God, even when I don't feel like He, God, I'll go. Yes means when people come, walk away from me, God, I'll go. When my loved ones fall off from the side of me, God, I'll go. Will you still say yes?
Today's word is entitled, "You Can't Feed Me and Starve My People." You can't feed me and starve my people. If I could just get a little bit more help on mine. verses of the chapter, Mordecai learns of Haman's plot to destroy the Jews. And is going through at the city gates trying to get God and anyone else's attention to save his people. You know, as bad as you think your situation is, you can always find someone that's worse off than you. Amen. As much as I'm bothered by what appears to be a lack of progress and opportunity of people in this community that I deem as important, and criminal activity that takes away from the quality of life in some of our communities, when I look at the level of violence and crime in Jacksonville, I have to admit that there are some that are worse off than us. But you know, with that being said, you still have to treat your situation like it's dire, or you will find yourself worse off than you ever imagined. I saw on the news where one apartment complex in Jacksonville has had 17 murders in 7 years, but last night I heard about one more, so now it's 18 murders in one apartment complex in 7 years. I don't know if our whole city has had 18 murders in 7 years. But the way we avoid getting to that place is by aggressively addressing the first. Mordecai has learned of a plot to destroy his people, and he goes to the city gates in front of all who will listen and cries out for his people in sackcloth and ashes. Verses 7 through 9, it says that Mordecai told him the whole story and told him how much money Haman had promised to pay into the royal treasury for the destruction of the Jews. Mordecai gave Esther a copy of the decree issued in Susa that called for the death of all Jews. And he asked Esther to show it to Esther. He also asked Esther to explain it to her and to urge her to go to the king to beg for mercy and plead for her people. So Hathach returned to Esther with Mordecai's message. Mordecai's niece, Esther, happens to be married to the king. And when she learned that her uncle Mordecai is at the city gate, crying out, covered in sackcloth and ashes, she sends one of the king's eunuchs out to see what's going on. But you know what? Somebody has to be willing to stand at the gate and cry out on behalf of their people. I thank God that Mordecai was not too proud to stand out at the city gates in what appeared to be an embarrassing condition, to cry out on behalf of his people in hopes that somebody would pay attention and listen. All right. Mordecai explains to Hathach how Haman had plans to destroy all the Jews. Haman said that he'd pay a certain amount of money into the treasury if all the Jews could be destroyed. And so Mordecai, when Hathach the eunuch came out to ask Mordecai, Esther's uncle, what's going on? He says, you know, Haman plans to destroy all the Jews. Can you please go back to the palace and ask Esther if she could provide relief by using her favor to speak with the king. In verses 10 through 12, it says that then Esther told Hathach to go back and relay this message to Mordecai. The whole world knows that everyone who appears before the king in his inner court without being invited is doomed to die unless the king holds out his gold scepter. And the king has not called me to come in to him in more than a month. So Hathach gave Esther's message to Mordecai. Esther sent Hathach to come and find out what was going on with Mordecai. Mordecai explained that Haman has a plot to kill all the Jews. And I'm out here trying to get anybody's attention that will listen to stop this heinous act from happening. When Hathach goes back and explains to Esther that her uncle had requested that she use her position of favor to talk to the king. Some of us in life will find ourselves in positions of favor. Positions where God has allowed us to get into some doors that other folk couldn't get in. He's allowed us to go and sit at some tables that other folk could not come and sit at. He's allowed us to have voices that other folk could not have. And so he simply said, Esther, could you please use your favor to help your people? But Esther responded by giving him a reading from the rule books.
All right.
Esther basically explained the rules of the new world that she lives in that's outside of being a Jew.
Yes, sir.
Favor has blessed her to be able to walk around a new world. You heard Jabez say, Lord, I wish that you would bless me and enlarge my territory. Sometimes God will bless you and allow you to walk in some territory that some other folk couldn't walk in.
Right.
That's favor. But what Esther did is she said, well, you know, in this new world that I walk in, there are some rules. And you can't go to the king unless the king extends his golden scepter and invites you. I know that's my husband, but you can't go to the king in this world I walk in and live in now unless you're invited by the king. And he has invited me in more than a month. Unfortunately, there are so many who are blessed to gain favor, to maneuver beyond the traditional boundaries of their people, only to become essentially worthless to the progress of their community. Queen Esther, in an effort to protect her favor, sent word back explaining why she came. What she didn't realize is that her favor was with man, but it came from God.
All right.
And that's something we all need to understand.
All right. All right.
The world can't take what God gave to you. If God gave you favor and God opened some doors in your life, the world can't take what God gave to you. And so you can't go to a place of being fearful because you think that man can somehow take what man didn't give you. That's the main excuse. Because I don't think she really realized every now and then in life we have to be reminded of where our favor comes from. Every now and then in life we have to be reminded of where our strength and where our help comes from. And so Esther's not this bad person, this cruel and mean person. She just needed to be reminded. I don't know about you, but several times in my life I needed to be reminded. Ain't nothing wrong with having to be. I thank God for people that are willing to remind me. Boy, you know where you come from. You ain't always been there. And you know God might have sent you there for a reason. Don't get confused with where your favor comes from. Your favor might be with man and with men, but your favor comes from God. Somebody in here today needs to understand that God is willing but not restricted. He's willing but not restricted. He's willing to use us, but he's not restricted to only us. God is willing to use me, but if I say no, God can get his work done through somebody else. Byron just stole my thunder. I was about to say 1 month and don't stop. For sure. So Mordecai sent word back to the queen, essentially saying in verses 13 through 14, it says, don't think for a moment that you will escape there in the palace. Don't think that palace is going to protect you. You still a Jew. When all of the Jews are killed, don't think that you're going to escape because you in the palace. 14 says, if you keep quiet at this time, trying to protect your favor, deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place. But you and your relatives will die. What's more, who can say that you have been elevated to the palace for such a time as this? You know, we have to be careful. Sometimes we devalue folk that God has favored to put in a position to help us. All right. Sometimes we have so much jealousy within that we can appreciate the folk that's been elevated, not understanding that God might have put them there to help me. That's right. Amen. You got to be careful how we look at people that have resources and that have wealth. Maybe God has blessed them to help pull the whole wagon along. But they can't get excited about pulling the wagon if everybody on the wagon constantly putting them down for being in the palace. How you gonna know what's going on in the palace if you don't have folk that care about you in the palace? And so Mordecai sent word back sent word back to Esther. He said, Esther, God gonna take care of us. He's been good to us all through. Y'all remember that song? Down through the years, all been good to me. Oh, down through the years, Lord been good to me. Oh, down through the years, Lord been good to me. Y'all remember that song again? You remember that song again? Yeah. One thing that folk that have been through some stuff understand is that even if you don't want to let God use you, God will still take care of me. And so Mordecai said, Esther, you know, God favored you and God blessed you, but don't forget you still a Jew. There's some of us that get elevated, we forget we Jews. There's some of us that get elevated, we forget we came through the struggle. Came out the struggle. And he said, don't forget now, you still a Jew. God will protect us, but now you put yourself in a position. And he says, you know what? God might have put you there for such a time as this. All right. I had a conversation with someone. I'm going to say something on the side to Judith real quickly. I'm going to get back to my point. Judith, you've been hanging with us so long. I didn't. You just a part. Somebody came and told me the other day, said, you know what? There was no blacks that was put on the cap and gown committee. I said, no, Judith said it put on there. But Judith, you are a part of it, but you understand. See, it's not all about the color of your skin, but it's about folk that understand your plight and are willing to work with you, but not only work, stand up and speak because they understand your story. But back to the point that I was making, someone came to me, gave me a call, chased me down, Alice. I wanted to first apologize that there were no blacks on the vision committee. I pointed out that it was kind of strange you talking about Flagler College students and the vision, but I don't see any students on your committee. You talking about the vision of this community and there's black folk living in this community, and I don't see any people, black people on your committee. And I said, now one thing you got to do, you got to get more than one. Because just like somehow when someone tell me when you all drop off, one might drop off, but we ain't got but one. That's going to leave it totally empty when we drop off. So you got to think about putting 3 or 4 on there. And so the lady, she said, Reverend Rawls, I would really like for you to be on the committee. I said, ma'am, don't think if you put me on the committee, I'm going to stop making noise. Just because you put me on the committee, I'm not going, you might want to think about something. If the reason you're asking me is because you want to stop me from making fuss, that's not a good reason to ask me because I'm still make fuss. See, God blesses some of us to get places so that people can understand different perceptions, different ways of looking at things. And so Mordecai sent word back, and somebody here got to understand that if you don't want to be used, God will use somebody else. If he puts you there and you don't want to be used, he'll use somebody else. But don't hate on the ones that's there. Don't hate on the ones that's allowing after being reminded, it said that Esther sent word back to Mordecai. Every now and then you just need to be reminded. Esther sent word back to Mordecai and said, Mordecai, I need you to go get the folk together because what you asking me for, you literally asking me to put my life on the line. You asking me to put my career on the line. You asking me to put my comfort on the line. Hey, you ain't asking me to do something that they can't turn around and hurt me. You're asking me to put myself on the line. I got a family to take care of. I got loved ones that depend on me. And you asking me to fight for you. And I'm willing to fight, but I need you to do this. I need you to go and gather all the people that I'm going to stand up for. I need you to go and gather all the people, and y'all call a prayer meeting. Y'all begin to fast on my behalf. I'm willing to stand up for you. I'm willing to speak up for you, but I need for the people to support me, and that's what we have to do in our communities. We can't keep knocking down the folk that will fight for us and sacrifice for us, stand up for us, that will serve on boards and serve on committees for us. We got to support them. We got to hold them up. We got to lift them up. And let them know I'm praying for you. I'm there with you. We can't get a lot of folks to stand for us because they know that all we're going to do is turn around and talk about them. But if we begin to tell our folks that if you serve, I'll pray. If you step out there, I'll support you. Mordecai said, I need you to go back, I need you to pray, and I need you to fast. She said, don't eat anything. Don't drink anything for 3 days or 3 nights. She said, my maids and I, we gonna fast on our side. You fast on the streets, we'll fast in the palace. You pray on the streets, we'll pray in the palace. Got folk everything covered now. Prayer to the east, prayer to the west, prayer to the north, prayer to the south. She said, get your folk to pray and fast, and my folk will pray and fast. She said, and then once we fasted and prayed for 3 days, she said, then I'll go against the law. I know what the law says, but I know that right now I feel it down deep in my spirit that God is calling me to a higher calling. She said, I'm going to go against the law and I'm going to go up to the king. And if I die, I must die. And I'm willing to die. Somebody say yeah. Say yeah. I'm reminded of a story about a woman, a son, and a banquet. This woman, she had a pastor, and a pastor had recently been elected to the office of bishop. And there was a banquet that was scheduled to celebrate his new episcopal appointment. But you had to buy a ticket to attend. Now this woman, she had a 13-year-old son. He called her on the day of the banquet and asked if he could attend the banquet also. Well, she asked her son, do you have a ticket? He said, no ma'am, I don't have a ticket. She asked her son, do you have money? He replied, no ma'am, I don't have money. She said, then you're not going to be able to go to the banquet. Her son, he hung up the phone. He called the bank people that have been given favor. Pray with them. Fast for them. Because they're going to put their necks on the line for you. They're sacrificing for you, not for themselves, but for you. But we can't become divided. Every now and then we might have to remind that favor didn't come from men, but it came from God. But sometimes in life, you're going to be presented with an opportunity to stand up or cower down. On your job, you're going to be presented with an opportunity to stand up or cower down. In your life, you're going to be presented with an opportunity to stand up or cower down. It's hard to come by folk that will speak up and put their own reputation and livelihood on the block to be destroyed. But when you find folk that are willing to represent you, speak for you, stand up for you, pray for those folk. That's right. Amen. Stand up for those folk. Amen. Amen. And when you have the opportunity to stand up for somebody, stop making excuses about what might happen. You ought not be happy at the table fat and your people starving. You can't feed me and starve my people. You know what? Keep your crumb. That's what you're going to have to tell people sometimes. Keep your crumb. Keep your crumb. I can't sit here and nibble on this crumb, knowing what you're doing to hurt my people. God said if you don't do it, somebody will. I challenge you to be the one that does it. And when you're not the one that's doing it, I challenge you to be the one that's praying for the one that's in the position. Amen? Amen.